Hey guys, I want to welcome everybody. We're still waiting for some people to show up here. We're just kind of getting some levels set and get things rolling here. We got a little music playing. I got my son listening over there and monitoring the chat and the Discord as well. And just to keep things rolling. I want to welcome everybody to the Asteroid Hunters channel. My son and I are very new at this whole chasing asteroids thing, and we're kind of learning as we go along, but I just want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about how I go about measuring these things and what I do. I want to show you real quick the big screen here. We got the DSN, which is the Deep Space Network from NASA, which is pretty cool. Basically, these are the arrays that they use to talk to the spacecraft that are out there, and you can see right now in Madrid, Voyager is actually communicating, which is pretty crazy. So it's kind of neat. And then here in Goldstone, like this one right here, this Sirius Rex is communicating right now with this array. This one, Goldstone, is out here by us in Southern California, out by Barstow, which is pretty neat. So I love this website, kind of a cool website. So, but basically, I'm going to just talk to you guys tonight about we were able to image Asteroid 2019DN, and we're going to basically, I'm going to basically process those images for you. And hey, Christopher, welcome aboard here. And basically, we're going to process these images. I'm going to just kind of show you how I go about processing them, how I go about blinking the images so you can see. But we were able to track Asteroid 2019 DN. Let me see if I can pull it up here. And be able to get it. This one actually made a pretty close approach to us as well. So it came by pretty close to us. This one did. So we were just basically gathering data on this thing, and we were able to gather some data and send it to the Minor Planet Center, which is really cool. So. So yeah, I just want to kind of show you guys how I go about doing that. Basically, you know, the software that I'm going to be showing you guys is Astrometrica and PixInsight. So PixInsight is a really powerful piece of software. There's a lot of incredible imagers. A lot of imaging community mainly uses this. It does cost money, but you know, it's well worth it. If you're going to get into imaging and do some stuff, don't skip on the software. A lot of guys will spend thousands of dollars on equipment and then want to just get, you know, the cheapest software they can. Well, a lot of the magic that happens in the software. So it's really important that you just try not to skimp on that. You know, you spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on a whole setup, which is expensive setup. I mean, you don't have to spend that kind of money, but I see guys do that and then be like, oh, $100 for software? Like, I'm not doing that. But I'm telling you, this is where it all happens. So PixInsight is a pretty deep program. I'm not going to lie to you. It's very powerful, excellent piece of software. What's really neat about it, though, is there is a massive amount of tutorials on YouTube. There's a lot of tutorial videos on the software itself. There's a lot of guys that are using it on here, and you can go in here and learn all about it. That's kind of what I've done. Is how I've learned is just by watching a lot of these tutorial videos. So that's the one thing I like to do is there's a ton of different software out there, a lot of stuff that's really great, but I highly recommend you find stuff that has a great support system to it. So I don't necessarily think there's any software that's wrong software, but the one that has kind of the most tutorials and has the most support of people that are using it, forums and stuff like that. You can go out there and find out what the what the guys are doing and learn about this stuff. I mean, that's really the best way to do it. So I'm all about that. So that was kind of why I jumped into this, because I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of big support system in this thing. So I wanted to just be able to have a piece of software that I could get support on. So the other thing we use also is Astrometrica. There's a number of videos online for that one as well, but this is what we use to basically measure the asteroid and then send the data to the Minor Planet Center. So basically what I will do is I will process the image in here and kind of clean it up, and I can stack through and just take a look and see what's going on. And then what I do is, once I've processed it, I put it into Astrometrica and then plate solve it, which means I essentially have to figure out where the software needs to know where the image is taken in the sky at any given time. So it does what's called a plate solve, where it kind of triangulates the star patterns and it says, okay, I think based off of that, here's where the actual right ascension declination is. And then it can, once it does that, then it knows where it's at, and then you can take measurements on it based on the position of the sky. So and I can show you also one of the other big tools that we use is astrometry.net. Really good, powerful website as well. But it's really got this really slick little upload feature that you can basically upload your images to, and then what it'll do is kind of do a measurement on it, and it'll basically tell you what your right ascension declination. It'll give you all the kind of the position information on the actual image itself. So I utilize this a lot. It just makes my plate solve go so much faster. But I'll kind of show you guys and talk you guys through it. So Christopher, looking for the Discord channel there. Let me, are we able to copy and paste the link in there, Brandon, or no? For the Discord channel? It's in the file? In the bio? Okay. It's in the bio there, Christopher, down below. Should be able to jump in. But please, yeah. Please, man, join the Discord if you guys can. We got a number of, the Discord's neat because it basically runs 24 hours a day, right? So you guys can post stuff in there. We have announcements. We have our setups, pictures of things that are in there. It's really kind of a powerful thing. Let me, can I drag it over here and then show it? Here's the Discord. So we put our announcements in here. We also have hey, we got a apparel line that just came out too. We just came out with this week. We're real proud of. So you can go to asteroidhunters.org or .net, asteroidhunters.org or .net, and you can order hats and shirts and cups and stuff like that. But we show pictures of our equipment in here. This is kind of the gear that we're using. We just got the new 11-inch C11. I just started messing with the camera on that last night. These images I'm going to show you tonight were taken with our 8-inch and with our Hyperstar, and then this. But this is kind of our setup. We also have news in here. I put articles and stuff like that I post in here. But here's the thing: we have a whole questions forum. You guys can post questions in here. We're pretty new at this, and I've got a long background with astronomy, but when it comes to doing some of this, I'm pretty new. So. But we also love our sponsor, telescopes.net, Woodland Hills Camera and Telescope. Daniel Mounsey, who was in the video we had last week, Dr. D. Post the questions in here. Daniel's in here. He can answer these questions. We have contacts with lots of people that can answer questions. If we can't figure out the answer for you, we'll find somebody who does. So we're going to definitely, over the next few months, we're going to have some big guest speakers on the channel. We're going to have some really incredible world-class imagers out here, and just some really great people. Next week, we got a friend of ours named Mirko, who's an imager. He's going to come out, bring his setup, and just kind of show how his imaging setup is and what he does. So, but if you can, join the Discord. The link should be there. Did you post the link there, Brandon? Yeah. So Brandon posted the link there for you guys, and jump on it. And it's there all the time. So love for you guys to be on there and have that, Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll just show you real quick. I'm going to, let me just show you a few of these images. So basically, I've kind of created let me see here. I have created a little tutorial because I have another folder where I process some images. So, you know, these are some of, let me just grab a few of these images. So these are some of the images that we took. And basically what happens is we get information from the Minor Planet Center on certain asteroids that need data collected on. So they need you know, to figure out, and we're trying to track the orbits of these things. So they may track them for a little while. We have big telescopes to track them, and then they jump on something else and they put it out there for us backyard guys to be able to say, hey, can you collect some data on these so we can get some orbital information? So this is basically these raw images that I'm taking, and I essentially put in my right ascension declination on this image, and then I won't see an asteroid. These are all basically 1 minute images, 1 minute subs. So I don't want to shoot any longer than that because the asteroid's moving, right? So it can actually create a streak across the sky, which I don't want. I want to basically try to capture it while it's moving quickly. So the whole point is, what I'll do is I will take these images and stack them. See how they're all stacked right now? I'll stack them much like a book. You've seen the book when they have like they put cartoons on a book, and when you turn the page, you see the cartoon move. It's very much the same thing. So we're going to basically stack these images up, and then we're going to basically blink them through, and we're going to look for any kind of movement. Sometimes I don't see the movement, but what happens is I'll put, like this image is funny. I tracked one asteroid, and I think there's one somewhere right around in here, and basically I saw one there, but when I put in Astrometrica, there's about 50 of them in the image that are known. And a lot of them are too dim for the telescope to pick up, but some of them we could actually see. And when I was able to the boxes come up where they're supposed to be, I could actually see them within the box. It's like, okay. So you guys will see that tonight when I go to Astrometrica. You're going to see a whole bunch of asteroids that are actually well known in this particular region of the sky. That's pretty cool. So the first thing that I do is I will basically calibrate these images. So if I do an image calibration, and I'm just going to do one. So basically, when you look at this image, this raw image, a lot of times when you get in on these things, there's kind of a lot of noise in here. You get a lot of some pixelation and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll take at the end of the night when I'm done, I'll shoot some dark files, some dark images, and I'll combine those darks with these to clean them up. This is very much a standard thing in imaging. Any guys that are taking big, beautiful photos of the sky, they're actually doing these dark calibrations. And I'll just show you real quick. So this is a raw file, and then what I'll do is I'm going to just take this one file here. I'll just show you. I'll just do a test and show you guys when I add a dark to it, how much it cleans it up. So I'm going to point this tutorial. I'll just select here. I'm going to show you. Oops, I gotta point it to the dark file. Sorry about that. Let me point it to my dark file here. So my darks, which I believe are not in here. I think they're out. I have so many different folders going on and things. Here's my darks. So these are the ones I took the other night. So if I basically, it'll process these things out. And then let me just open that file that I, it's not showing. Oh, wait, did I put it here? Oh, here it is right here. So you can actually see how much darker this image looks in this? See the difference? This is a calibrated image versus not. So and you can see this one actually looks darker and cleaner than this one. So that's kind of the difference in these things. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of calibrate all of them, and then what I'll do is blink them up. So I'm gonna do the calibration. I'm going to select all these files here. So let me go back here. These are basically all the files that I have taken. All these guys. Open these up. And then let me point them. I have folders that are already created here. I got my master dark, and then basically I'm going to hit this button and it's going to calibrate through. I'm just going to go through the steps for you guys. We get a lot of people asking how we do this stuff, and I'm just going to go through the steps. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We got the chats going here in YouTube and also Twitch as well. How's that music level, Brandon?
Good.
Pretty good? Does it need to come down, or is it?
No, I think it's good.
Okay. Just put a little music in the background for you guys, just to kind of... Okay, so then those images are now calibrated. They're sitting in the... you see how they say C next to them? So PixInsight makes it its own little file, puts C next to it. That means it's calibrated. So then what I'll do, and you can see these are all the different processes that you can do with these images. As you can see, PixInsight is extremely powerful, and there's so much that I'm probably using 5% of what this software can do. So for my needs, this is what I'm doing. But obviously, there's a lot of other stuff in here. That's really a neat thing about this. So I'm going to go to this blink section here. What I'm going to do is import all these files into here. Oh wait, before I do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. What I need to do is star align those files first. I'm going to basically register them. So I'm gonna basically align them all together, so they're all lined up together. So when they're stacked, they're all aligned. So it'll take an alignment. So what I'll do is I'm going to show it the first file here, and I believe this is it. So we're going to go take the first file. So all the files that I put in here now are going to align to this one file. I'm going to grab all this, and then I'm going to point it to, I actually have these are aligned, folder. And so basically all these images are now going to star align. All the stars are going to be aligned. So when I blink through them, they'll all be lined up. And that's mainly the big reason I use just because it does it so well. It's really fast, really well, and it does it pretty quick. So. Okay, so that's done. So now what I'll do is I'm going to blink these things. Hopefully this all works. You know, sometimes it can be finicky, but that's how computers are, right? So now I can take all 30 of these images. These are all 1 minute apiece, every one of these, for 30 minutes. So, and then basically what I can do is I can do 5 seconds in between. So now what it's doing is it's blinking them all. So it's blinking all the images. So what you could do, you could sit here and kind of go through this and see. It's like, do I see anything? Do I see? Let me zoom in a little bit here. And you can kind of start searching around on the sky. Now I can tell you right now, look at that. You see that thing moving right there? So there, I think you guys can see that. Let me move that up a little bit. It's pretty faint, but it's moving across the sky. Right there, this guy right here. You can just see it moving. If I pan back a little bit, you probably see it a little better. It's right there. There it is. So there's an asteroid right there. And it's basically, you know, it's on its track. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a measurement. Now this isn't the one we're looking for. This is a known asteroid that already has measurements. The one we're looking for is over here somewhere. I want to say it's right here. It's kind of hard to see. You're probably not going to quite see it through the stream, but these things can be pretty faint. But here's this is kind of what we're looking for, is that right there. So I can't remember the name of this one, but we're gonna show you this in Astrometrica, what it looks like. So I can actually make this thing, if I go 2, 3, 4, if I just do five minutes a piece. So I'm gonna blink, let me go to the top of this. So we'll blink 2, 6, 8, 9, 12. If I just kind of start blinking these about 5 minutes a piece.
Did you know that with Spectrum Mobile you could save up to 40% a month on your wireless bill? Get our unlimited.
You could see it move a little bit more there.
Unlimited talk and text. You can shop, stream.
So, and that's a pretty faint object. That's measuring about 15.8 or so. Oops, I just grabbed the microphone. Sorry about that, guys. That's about a magnitude 15.8, 15 or so, 16, somewhere in there. 16 is about what we get with a 8-inch in our location. I think with a little bit darker skies, we probably, certain times of the year, we'll probably get just above that. I know with our 11, I was doing some tests last night, and the problem that I was having last night is the moon is out. It's starting to get kind of bright right now. But I was measuring 17 with a bright moon, so I think we'll be able to do 18 magnitude with the 11-inch. But basically, that's the kind of stuff we're looking for. So okay, we see an asteroid, like, this is awesome. And you can kind of search through and see if there's anything else moving around in the sky. And again, sometimes it's hard to see. You can tell it's, with the image quality, sometimes it can be a little tricky to see as you're kind of searching around. But what ends up happening usually is I'll take an image and then I'll calibrate it and I'll just throw it into Astrometrica, plate solve it, and find out what the well-known asteroids are. And a lot of times stuff will come up and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even see that in the image, and there it is staring you in the face. But yeah, so it's like, okay, we can see an asteroid. We have these files sitting here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just transfer these things over. So basically the steps that we've done is we take the image. I've done 1 minute subs, and they're 1 minute, 31 minute subs. So we got 30 minutes worth of shots that we've taken right here. And basically I clean them up a little bit by putting some darks to them to kind of clean the image up a little bit. And then basically I star align them, so they're all aligned with each star, so that they're stacked evenly. And you can actually see, let me go back to, you can actually see the block, let me scroll, to align them, you can see how some of them weren't exactly aligned. So the alignment basically lines them all up, so nothing moves there. And then basically you blink through them and you start looking and start checking and see what you want to see. But sometimes you don't always catch them. So but when I throw this image into Astrometrica, you're going to see all kinds of stuff in here that is actually measured and well known. There's a lot of stuff in here that's too faint for our telescope to catch. So, but let me show you that real quick. So basically the next step that we would, you know what, before I do it, PixInsight has created its own kind of file system. You can see it's got little PixInsight little file profile on there. So what we want to do is actually, now that we've aligned or calibrated them and registered them, we want to create FITS files, because that's what Astrometrica reads. It reads FITS files basically is only. So what you do is you want to go up here into Workspace, go into batch format conversion, and we can convert our files to anything we want. So I'm going to add, these are all the ones that I star aligned. So I'm going to basically add all of these, and then I'm going to output them. I've already created a FITS folder, and I'm going to make them as FIT. And now Astrometrica is just taking those, or PixInsight's just taking those and now making them fit files for us to be able to read into Astrometrica. So I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go to Astrometrica and I'm going to import. Now, here's one thing I'm going to do before I do that. Well, actually, before I start, but what I'll do is this. I'm going to import these, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm only going to import them 5 minutes apart. So I'm going to go to the tutorial that I've created here. These are the FITS files. And you can see they say CNR. That means they're calibrated and registered. So I'm going to basically go about 5 minutes apart and import only those images. Okay, so there's only a handful of these images. I'm going to open these up. Okay, now I have, on the computer, I have this Dimension 4 software, which basically is a universal clock system and makes everything UTC. Basically, it's synced to UTC time. There's tons of places that you sync to around the world, and I have the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington. I have this computer, the timestamp. This computer is synced to that. You just download this Dimension 4 software, you install it, and it just comes up and it syncs your computer to universal time. So part of the reason I want to do that is you need to have timestamp on your actual images so it knows date and time that the exposures were done. You can see that I took these at hour 4:35:12. If you're shooting with a DSLR camera, you're going to want to try to figure out your time stamp for your images. But because I'm shooting with a CCD style camera, CMOS camera, and I have that software running, it actually timestamps for me. So as I'm importing these, it's just giving me the timestamps that are on there. So now here's my images, and these are only 5 minutes apart, and there's only 5 of them here. But basically what I need to do is do a plate solve. So this software needs to know where we're at in the sky. I mean, you look at that, it's like, well, I don't know. Who knows where that's at? I don't know the name of this star. This is a random star that's sitting out there. It just happens to be in my shot. So what I'm going to do, here's where astrometry.net comes into play. So you go to astrometry.net, you click this upload tab, which is right here, and then I'm going to upload this file. And I'm going to basically choose, let me go to my tutorial. I'm going to just choose the very first file that I imported, which is this #2 file that I have. That's the very first file, and I'm going to upload it. And this thing works pretty fast, actually. Says we got 5 people watching. So we got a few people on Twitch. How's everybody doing this weekend? Everybody having a good weekend? The weather sure is beautiful here in Southern California, man. Couldn't ask for better weather. It's unbelievable. It's like 80 degrees out here today. It's crazy. So it's uploading. It's showing 92%, 93%. I'm going to try to show you this stuff in like an hour, guys. I'm going to about an hour stream to try to show you this stuff in an hour here. Kind of how I do this. I know I'm quickly running through this, but the video will be posted on YouTube and on Twitch. You'll be able to go back and check things out. So there's definitely, it's taking time for me to figure out all these steps, that's for sure. So go to results page. So it's basically processing this image now. So I'm just waiting. Sometimes I have to reload the page. I usually wait a few minutes. And what's going to happen is it's going to give me my right ascension and declination of that first image. So I'm going to import or input those numbers into Astrometrica, and it's going to tell me exactly where we're at in the sky. How's the mic sound, Brandon? We okay?
Good.
Good? Okay. We sounding okay, guys? So let me, see, boop, there it is. So it's giving me the actual right ascension and my declination numbers right there. So these numbers I'm going to put into here. So I'm going to go up here to basically data reduction. And I'm going to basically put in these numbers. So it says right ascension. So let me go back. It says right ascension. So I'm going to put in 11.11.36.3. So I'm going to do 36.3. And then the declination numbers are 2018-27. Okay. So we go 2018-27. We hit OK. Now I have, and I'll show you guys too, I have the focal length of the telescope put in here. Astrometrica does this. It says not responding, and then you just have to wait and it'll do its thing. But while that's calculating, let me switch back over here because I'm going to show you guys, it's real important. There's a setup in Astrometrica, and I can show you, once this is done, I'll show you the setups page after we've done this, where you basically put the focal length in your telescope, or the focal length of your telescope in there. See, it's referencing star data. Okay, so it says 6 stars have been identified. So it was having a little bit of a hard time trying to figure out where stuff's at, but it has this little manual star chart or star match, so I can hit OK on this, and it gives me, these are all alignment stars. You see all these things that are in here. Now these are all up to about 17 magnitude. So I'm going to turn these down so there's not so many of them in the frame, so I can lessen the magnitude. And you can already see, like if I zoom in here, I've already got them kind of lined up. Okay. But let me show you guys. Basically, there's this focal length. You have. This is kind of the hardest part of Astrometrica, is knowing where things are, what your focal length of your telescope is, and your position angle of your camera. Because when you put your camera up there, you know, sometimes it can be twisted. And I'm going to show you guys let me show you let me just bring this up here so you guys can see this while that's doing that. So, you know, basically we have the 1600 here, and it's on a Hyperstar. So this is a Schmidt-Cassegrain, and basically this is 2200 millimeters, I believe, is a 8. I could be wrong on that. I think that's what it is. But essentially we're bringing this thing to about 400 millimeters by removing the secondary mirror and putting the camera on the very front of this thing. So we're getting a much wider field of view with this setup as opposed to if we put the telescope or the camera right on the actual, you know, back here on the telescope, then we would get a much tighter view. But we're basically, you know, pulling that secondary out, putting this camera system on the front of this thing. So, but you put this on here, and sometimes it can get twisted depending on the orientation of where your camera is how you have to figure out your actual angle on your, on your reference stars of Astrometrica. So the Hyperstar, let me go back to this so you guys can see. Hyperstar, if I go to telescope Schmidt-Cassegrain, this is the system that we're using. We have like an 8-inch. I'm going to go down here, and he even has in here. So he shows, we're running a version 4. This is the one we're running right here. And he's showing 390 millimeters. So that's what I put into to Astrometrica for me to know what the millimeters. Now you could be shooting with a refractor. It could be 1800 millimeters. It could be 1200 millimeters. It could be anything it wants to be, depending on what telescope you're using. But basically that's where I'm getting the 390 millimeters, and you can see I'm putting that right in here. So I put 390 millimeters. Now the position angle, I messed around with it, and you can kind of start at 0 and work your way around to a 360 degree circle, right? So you work, in the tutorials I read, it was like 0, you could put 50 in, 100, until you start to see kind of you try to line these red dots up with the stars. So, and I've basically done that with that. So I've got that focal length in there. I've turned down the magnitude. When the magnitude's up like this too much, you see too many dots, you can't make out what's what. So basically, I turn these things down. Today, when I was trying to get the 11-inch, I was trying to figure out the focal length of the 11-inch. I had to turn this thing, I mean, I can turn this down to magnitude. We obviously know that's a very bright star right there. So at the very least, I could turn it down to 6 and figure out the one star that I could point that at, and then work my way out and start trying to align these things, you know. So if I hit OK, it says reference stars. We have basically it plate solves. Okay. So I've plate solved this thing, and it says that it's got 1190 reference stars in the image, and it's plate solved. So I know I'm lined up. So now what I've done is, since I've kind of got this thing plate solved out, I'm going to go to blank images. And what it's doing is it's just taking those, you know, those 5 images, and it's doing exactly what we did in PixInsight. And we're basically looking for movement, right? But we've already kind of gone through it in PixInsight, so we know. I'm pretty sure I know. Like, where's the star? This image is flipped. I think that asteroid that we're looking at is somewhere right over here. The one we want to find is, I believe, somewhere in here. But what you can do is do this really cool feature on here where it says known object overlay. This only works in the blink mode that I'm aware of. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm very new to this software, so again, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this stuff. But basically, if I do a known overlay, now that it knows where it's at in the sky, it's going to do an overlay of what asteroids are in this image. And some of these have been, you know, already measured. Look at that. Let me bring this. This is all the known asteroids in this one shot right here, guys. Is that crazy or what? Look at all these things. And they're all labeled. Now, you see those see how those are a little bit darker than the others? That's actually 2019DN. And it's in one of those 2 boxes is what they're saying, because they're trying to measure it. They're not exactly sure. We're taking measurements on it, and we know it's in one of those 2 boxes. I'm going to come back to that because that is the actual asteroid we're tracking, and you can see. Oop. It's actually, if I go frame by frame, you can see it right there. It's just outside the box. There it is right there. Thanks, Soda, for the follow. Really appreciate it, man. So yeah, you can actually see see that little white dot? That's 2019DN. Now we're just slightly outside the box, but again, these are based on the data from the Minor Planet Center. I mean, I think we're pretty darn close to where they think it's at, don't you think? So, but I want to show you that one asteroid that we're looking at. Let me see if I can find that thing. That is going to be, it is, let me just start rolling through these things. So, I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So let me scroll over a little bit. There it is right there. And you can see, I'm just going to zoom in on this for you guys. There it is. Look at that. And it's right in the box. There it is. And we basically have our plate solve, our track's so good that it's showing its track right inside the box. Now, we see that it's asteroid 02578, and it's registered at 15.8 magnitude. Now, what I can do is confirm that that's what it is. Here's where Astrometrica is really awesome, man. So basically, if I click on the image, there's the asteroid right there. Okay, it's showing the actual brightness. Now it shows it at about 16 magnitude. It's at 15.8. I probably can bounce it around a little bit, get the center out of it as much as I can. 16.1. That's what my camera measured at. But again, we're right there. But here's what's neat. If you, this object destination, if I click it, it's going to tell me exactly what that asteroid is. That's Saint Expire 2578. 15.8 magnitude. That's the name of that asteroid right there. So I already know, we already know that's been cataloged, but there it is right there, guys. Look at that thing. So we're not sure what it is. We just click on it, hit object destination. It's going to tell me exactly what asteroid it is. Boom, right there. Saint Expire. So we can then, you know, we know that with our 8-inch, we're getting about 16 magnitude is probably about our max. But you start kind of going through this image, and you're like, oh, let me kind of search around. Some of these are 20 magnitude, so this is 20.9, 21.3. Some of these are really faint, so I can't quite see them with our telescope that we have. Now, hopefully our 11-inch. It's our goal, guys, is to get a 14 one day. That's our goal, man, to have a 14-inch and be able to see if we can catch 20 magnitude. I'm pretty sure I remember there being like one. Let me just kind of search around here. Some of these are really hard to see. 20 magnitude. These are all the asteroids flying around in this image, guys. It's crazy. Let me just see. Oop. I know there was another one. Let me see here. Sodak equals South Dakota. Okay, well, welcome, man. That's pretty cool. Appreciate you being here, man. So I just want to see. There's another one that we can see pretty well here, and I remember seeing it, and it was like 14, 15 magnitude, something like that. I just can't remember where it's at. So let me just see here. Let me scroll out a little bit here, guys. You can see there's a lot to choose from. It's pretty crazy. Where is it? I know I saw it earlier. I thought I did. It may be in one of the other images that we took later in the night. Okay, it probably, that's what it is. I'll take a look at those just to see, because I know that there was some. So we took some about an hour later, and we're actually a little bit farther shifted in the image, and there was another one over here that was like 14.5 magnitude, and we could see it pretty well. So, but you could see this is the one we're looking for. This 2019 DN, and I know it is because, again, if you go, I'm gonna just zoom in here. Here it is right here. Now, if I go frame by frame, you can just see it. It's right here, right above the 15.6. You guys see it? There it is. We'll loop it back and forth, and you can just see it moving across. Look at that. That thing's moving, man. That thing's booking. It's moving pretty fast. So basically what I would do is I would take a measurement on it. I could do the object overlay, and there it is, 2019 DN. We found the asteroid we were looking for. Pretty cool, huh? So what I would do is I would basically click that and say I wanted to send this measurement. I'm basically measuring it, so I'm measuring the brightness. It's given the actual spot in the sky where I'm measuring it. So I would go to the top of the frame, which is going to be frame number 2, right here, and I would hover over it, click it, hit accept, okay, and then it would clear, and I would go to the next one, and I would click on it, hit accept again, and go to the next one, and click on it, hit accept again, and go to the last frame, click on it, hit accept again. And then what it's doing is it's creating an actual report file, like this. So it's given the name of the asteroid, the date, and the actual right ascension declination that's here. It's given the date and time, and the actual magnitude when I measured it. So, and I did this over several hour. Yeah, it does look like it was tumbling, right? Isn't that crazy? It does. It really looks like it is. It's pretty crazy. So, and this is basically the report file that I send to the Minor Planet Center, and we've basically taken measurements on the asteroid with that. So, so yeah, that's essentially how you guys do it. How we do it. Let me just grab. I have some other from like a little bit later in the night. Let me see. Did I? Let me just see here, guys. I want to just, the ones I took like an hour or so later, I want to just grab them and I'll plate solve those real quick and we can just take a look at them. Give me 1 second here, guys. It's going to be this, and it's this. I think it's right here. Where are those, man? Yeah, it must be that. Okay, so that is going to be it. Okay, so let me just go 1, 5. And again, I'm just going to take the ones that are about 5 minutes apart. This is going to be about an hour later or so, because I take multiple measurements over a few hours. That's what I end up sending to the Minor Planet Center. They did accept my measurements, which is good. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard back from anything, but I know they don't need any more measurements this month. But you know, they did accept our measurements, which is pretty cool. So again, I will do the same thing on this. This is that I need to know where I'm at exactly in the sky. So, and I don't just take the exact measurements from astrometry.net for the ones hour later. I do this so it's quicker. I'm going to go to put the first frame of this thing up in there. Let it tell me exactly where we're at in the sky. Oops, that's not what we want. We want this. We want this. We want this. These are the images right here. Let me upload this thing. You guys need to use this software. This Nova software is awesome. Astrometry.net, man. Really cool. Hey, while that's doing that, man, let me see here. Let me do this. I'm going to do a little plug here. I'm going to plug our website, guys. AsteroidHunters.net, man. AsteroidHunters.org. We got a full line of cups and shirts, man. Love for you guys to grab some of that stuff. But we're grateful for our sponsor, Telescopes.net, man. And from Woodland Hills Camera and Telescope there in Woodland Hills, California. This is one of the top dealerships in the nation. And we're just really grateful for their help as well. Daniel and Farah and all those guys down there. Those guys are awesome. So also, you guys go onto this website. Any equipment you purchase, as long as it's not on sale and already has a promo or anything, but in the shopping cart, man, if you put in the promo code Asteroid Hunter, and you can see it at the bottom of the stream, you're going to get a discount on all your orders. So if you go to there, you're going to get a discount on all your orders at telescopes.net, man. Asteroid Hunter. I got the promo code down there. So, all right, this thing is, go to results page. So it's there. It just calibrated. So it's giving me that. So now there's my right ascension declination off that first image. So I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to data reduce, and I'm going to put those numbers in there. And it says, looks like 11, 13, 11.9. So 11, 13, 11.9. And then here down below, it's going to say 1952.35. So we're going to go 52.35 and hit OK. Yeah, my son's running the mixing board in the background. He's monitoring the chat for me and monitoring the Discord. And he's just keeping an eye. Does the sound okay for you guys? Everything sound good? My son is the one who's helped me set all this equipment up. Him and I do this together. We love it, man. It's a lot of fun. So we set all this stuff up, and he helps me out with all the stuff. He's really good, too, at all the Discord and all this kind of stuff. He streams his games on Twitch, so he's helped me to get some things set up on this. But all right, so again, it gave me the error like it always does. It pretty much always gives you an error. It says, hey, I'm having trouble. It says I matched 5 stars, but there's a whole lot more in the image, as you can see. So I'm going to hit OK. Now I have put in my focal length and stuff. And I've already kind of figured out, you know, where things are at. So if I just, and you could just see it just slightly slightly off like that. Usually if you do that, hit OK. When I have that many reference stars going on, it matches up, you know. And I know that it's not exactly like the way the plate solve is a little bit tricky. Sometimes it comes right up, sometimes it doesn't. But I already know that this, you know, there's enough reference stars in here to know where things are at. So again, I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to just blink through these images. Okay. And while that's happening, let me extend this out. I'm going to do the data reduction. Oops. I'm sorry, the known overlay, this object overlay. So it's going to give me the overlay of all the objects that are over here. So as it sounds and looks great, Brandon. Good job. Way to go, man. Way to go. Okay, there's all the known asteroids in the image, guys. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff to look at in the night sky that we don't know about, you know. Pretty crazy. So I want to see if I can find that other one that was. There's our 2019 DN, and we'll go look at that one in a second because I measured that. But I wanted to come over here and see. I thought there was another one in here. Oh, there it is, right here. Okay. So right up above here, I'm going to zoom in. See, when the little red boxes are kind of around, you can kind of chase them. There it is right there in the screen. And it is right there in the middle of the box, dead centered. There it is. Look at that thing. There's a number of them around there, but these are all 1920 magnitude. My scope cannot pick that 8-inch, just can't quite pick it up with the Hyperstar. So, but I'm hoping that, you know, I'll get, well, if I get a 14 one day, I'm hoping I can get to 20 magnitude. It'll be, I think I can, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to push 17-ish with the 11. 14 probably get close, at least maybe 19. But there it is. There's another one right there in our frame that we didn't know about, right? So this one obviously is pretty well known. I'm going to click on it, and we're going to get the designation for it. And it's Natalie, 448 Natalie. Let me see. 448. Let's see if I can find information on Natalie. She's well known, that's for sure. Sometimes it'll show its track. Natalie comes around quite often, so here's a track in 2015 of that asteroid coming through. There's a lot of information on Natalie here. May. There's even wiki data on it. Current position. Magnitude 15.31. We are measured. If it says magnitude 15.31 is where they think she's at, look what we measured her at. 15.3. So we know that our camera's working really well. I couldn't be happier with that. You gotta love the Hyperstar, man. And that 1600 ZWO camera works extremely well. You just do a lot with this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so that's Natalie right there. Right there. Bouncing around. Pretty cool, huh, guys? But yeah, and you can zoom out on this thing, start looking around. Let's go back down to our 2019. Let's see what our asteroid was doing about an hour later, what it kind of looked like. See if I had a little bit better image of it. I think it's about the same. It looks pretty similar. Oop. There it is right there. There it is. And I can take a measurement on it just to see. 15.8 is the magnitude on it. But there it is right there. So, and again, that's, you know, if I do a designation, 2019DN, there it is. So we know that that is the asteroid that we were trying to track. You can go through this, you know, a lot of this kind of search around. A lot of these are all 20 magnitude just to see if there's anything. Oop. I want to see if I can see that one again.
Let's talk free trials, or specifically the free trial that's being offered to you right here this very minute. Ready for it?
These are all 19, 20 magnitude. There's even a 22.3 right there.
30-day trial of
That's stuff the guys see with big telescopes, man.
0 ads for a full 30 days, and you pay
But yeah, that's basically all the asteroids that are known in that image at any given time, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, just to go back over again, basically, you know, I'm shooting with piece of software that I use as well to shoot with. I get people ask. I use SharpCap, which is free, but you know, there's a ton of different things to use. You know, there's a lot of different software to use. All of them work really well. I like SharpCap because it's very easy. And again, I'm just looking to basically set a 30-second exposure and go. There's all kinds of various software out there that you can use. So I wouldn't say that any of them are worse than others. The whole thing is to just get into them and start using them. You're going to find stuff that you like, stuff that you don't. And the whole point is, guys, just to get in there and start, you know, looking and using and checking those things out for sure. You know, so I basically shoot with SharpCap and create the images, and then, you know, we go into PixInsight and we register or calibrate and register the images. When I take the blacks, so I'll shoot the images. I'll shoot like 30 1-minute images for 30 minutes at a time, and then at the end of the night, I'll put the lens cap on the actual camera and shoot the. I do the stack in. I actually will stack in PixInsight. I don't stack I don't stack them as one image though, but I will align them. So in PixInsight, there's a star alignment right here. This feature, so you can basically go into star alignment and put in like say you had 30. I had 30 files, right? I have 30 1-minute files. So I selected the very first file. And then I select all the other ones, and it'll align those to this one. So then I have 30 aligned files at that given time. So that's what I use. I use PixInsight to basically stack them, and then align them basically. And then once they're aligned, I have to create FITS files for Astrometrica to work. So I go to batch format conversion, and I select the files that I've aligned, and I export them out and create these FITS files. Let me pull this back down so you guys can see. We're going to wrap it up pretty soon. I'm going to keep the stream short. We've been going for about an hour here, but oops, I want to do this. So I've basically create FITS files that see how they're calibrated and registered. So I've applied a dark to them, and then I've star lined them so they're all lined up, and then I create FITS files and I import those into Astrometrica. And basically when I import them into Astrometrica, I only import 5 minutes at a time. So I do the first minute, then the one on the 5 minute, one on the 10, 15, 20, 25, and the one on the 30. So I have about 6 files that I bring into. I will take the first file, the very first file that I bring in, I will go to, and I'm just recapping here for you guys so you know, to astrometry.net. I will upload that file, and it'll tell me exactly where the bright ascension declination is. A lot of times I'll write it down in my log. As I'm taking images, I'll still write it down. I have a log that has that stuff. So in case this doesn't work, because I can't, sometimes the website might be down, the internet doesn't work, or whatever, you better have your, right ascension declination. So if you're, I use also Stellarium to control the telescope. And I have basically well, let me do this for you guys. So I go to the Minor Planet Center, and I basically set up and figure out what asteroids are needed data on, and it'll give me kind of an idea of the asteroid name and the right ascension declination and where they believe it's at, and that's what I will put into Stellarium, and point the telescope to it. But I'll take that first image, put it into astrometry.net, get that in there, and then when I go into Astrometrica and I go to plate solve this thing so it knows where it's at in the sky, I put that data in there, and then it plate solves it for me. And then I can do a known overlay, and then I can start figuring out what's where. But 99% of the time when I'm taking an image, I won't see, there's a lot of these things I won't see, and then I'll put it in here and see all these asteroids that are potentially, and then I start zooming in on stuff, and I go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff in my image that I just didn't see when I first started scanning through it. So basically that's how we take measurements on these things, and that's how we track these things, which is pretty cool. And I'm just reading your lights are FITS, then stack and save if FITS again. Yes, that's exactly right, Soda. So they're shot as FIT files in SharpCap, and when I bring them in, what happens is PixInsight makes them PixInsight files. So when you're working in PixInsight, when you start registering and calibrating stuff, it creates PixInsight files. So for me to get them into another piece of software like Astrometrica wants them to be FIT files. So I just put them back as I batch them out, the batch processing, and I format convert them into FITS files again. So that's what I do there. So, but yeah, that's kind of basically the process of it. Again, there's a lot of tutorials online on this stuff, guys. There's many things for Astrometrica and those kinds of things, but that's basically how I've kind of learned through this process. There's been a lot of trial and error, but we were fortunate enough to take measurements on this this is the stuff we gathered this last week, and I was able to submit it at the Minor Planet Center, and it was accepted. So we're grateful that we've kind of figured out how to do this. It's it's only going to get better, but it's a lot of fun. And our skies aren't super dark where we're at. We got a lot of light where we're at. You got it, Soda. Thank you for coming by, man. I appreciate it. So we do pretty good. We're about 35 miles outside of Los Angeles. So our skies are, they're pretty good. They're pretty transparent, but not too bad. So, but we definitely have some light pollution. We have a lot of wind issues here. We get Santa Anas and all kinds of stuff. So right now it's beautiful outside, but the Santa Anas are blowing pretty hard. So I couldn't even actually set up an image if I wanted to right now because the winds are blowing. And they mess with the tripod a little bit. So I'll get some streaks in my image. So, all right, so have a good night. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end the stream right now. And again, thanks so much for coming by. We love having you guys, and I'm going to give some shout outs here to our guys that help us out there at telescopes.net. Again, if you guys purchase anything on the site, use the promo code Asteroid Hunter. You're going to get a discount on anything that you purchase on the cart here that that qualifies. There obviously there's stuff that's already on sale and stuff that's clearance, and those kinds of things won't qualify, but a lot of stuff does. So love for you guys to do that. And then also asteroidhunters.net is our website. Oh, yeah, that worked out good, didn't it? Sorry about that. So asteroidhunters.net, we got some swag, and we're gonna be wearing some of that next time. And again, please feel free to join the Discord if you guys can. We're gonna have a link at the bottom on the YouTube page. Those on Twitch, you can scroll down under us on Twitch, and you're gonna see the Discord there. You'll also see a link to our merchandise and just all kinds of various things. You'll see links to the actual equipment that we're using, the scopes. These images that we see tonight were taken with this 8-inch telescope, as you can see is behind me right over here. We have in the red. So that's that one right there. So, but yeah, the links are all there, and just love for you guys to click and join, man. All right, well, appreciate it, you guys. You guys have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're gonna basically be back here next Saturday, I believe. We're gonna stream again. We're going to have a special guest, Mirko, a special guest imager on. It's going to be awesome. And he's going to bring his setup. We'll set up some stuff probably outside. We'll probably have a little bit of a daylight stream going on where we got some equipment set up, potentially. We may have it set up in here. We don't know yet. We're working through that, but we're going to have all that stuff going on. It's going to be awesome. And he's going to talk through how he images, you know, and he really takes really nice pictures. So he'll be able to talk through us a little bit how he's doing some of that stuff. And we're going to have Daniel, Dr. D, back with us as well, helping out. And you're going to see over the next few months, we're going to have some cool people online to help to basically feature and tell us some stuff and talk stuff astronomy. You know, we're all about it. So but we love to do the asteroid hunting. We love to gather data. That's something my son and I are totally into, and we have the whole big setup here at the Asteroid Hunter Center is what I should say. So all right, guys, appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you again soon. And let me just click this back onto here, and we'll see you guys. All right, you guys have a good night there. Take care.